Hello everyone! Welcome back to some more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer. This is going to be a 2v2 battle. I am bringing my best friends, the Skaven, I love the rats, and my ally is going to be the Beastmen versus the Empire and the Dwarves. Forces of good and evil clash at some very snowy area somewhere in the world. For my army, the main line of infantry is going to be made up of 2 clan rats with spears at the end, one right here, one right there. We also have 2 plague monks in the middle, and then in the very middle, a plague monk censer bearer, which is going to be the armor piercing, one of the hardest hitting Skaven infantry units in their roster. And then back here off of the main line to do kind of a support is a group of the Death Runners. Just to remind you, the Death Runners are about 950, I believe. They have decent combat stats, but their kind of main thing is that they're armor piercing, and then they also have the Weeping Blade debuff. So for 35 seconds, any unit they hit has minus 50 armor. So bringing them against an army of dwarves, I thought maybe that was kind of a good idea. So that is our infantry. Oh, I'm sorry. We have also 2 Skaven slaves, one with spear and then one without just some swords over there. Then we also have a group of rat ogres here in the middle, and then a group of the poison wing globadiers, the anti-large armor piercing ranged throwing units. And then right back here we have a plague claw catapult, which is still, I think, one of the best artillery pieces in the game. The Skaven have some of the best already, just hands down. I think they're amazing. For the leadership of the Skaven army, we have Queek Headtaker, the anti-infantry killer. He looks really cool. He does a lot of damage, and that's it. He has a bodyguard of an assassin going with him today, and then we also have a plague priest with the 2 rat summon spells, and then the breath spell I also took, because the breath spell I think is pretty good. And that is, oh, that's not my entire army. Over here on Vanguard deployment, I have 2 gutter runners. So these are going to be stealth units that when an enemy unit gets close, or they get close to an enemy unit, they can then throw this snare net ability, which will slow them for 15 seconds. And they just do good range damage, and they're also pretty good at melee combat as well. So that is my army. For the Beastmen army, we have a Vanguard deployed force of 2 Ungor herds, the kind of basic Ungor unit with a shield, and then in the middle we have 1 Gore herd with shield. So those have been Vanguard deployed. They're going to be pulling up right here to this ridge line. The rest of the forces over here, they have a total of 2 Cygors, the siege unit of the Beastmen, and they make really good melee combatants, and they make supposedly better artillery pieces now. I believe their artillery accuracy was increased in Total War Warhammer 2. I still haven't really tested them out myself, but there are 2 of them here. Leading the charge of the Beastmen is going to be Malagor the Dark Omen with the Summon Cygor spell, which they have 2 charges. Yeah, 2 charges at 22 winds of magic each. And then they also have, I guess that's it. I guess that's the only spell they brought. So there we go. There's Malagor the Dark Omen. Off here hiding in the forest are going to be 3 Bestigor units, which are going to be their elite infantry anti-armor units of the Beastmen. And then over here we have a Centaur with throwing axes, which I have not used for a very long time, but they are armor piercing, very, very short range, so you got to be careful with them. But they can deal a decent amount of armor piercing damage. We also have a Chaos Puppy with poison. I'm guessing to try and slow any enemy cav that gets close to them is my guess, because poison can also slow people. And then we also have a group of Centaurs with great weapons, which are pretty heavy, hard-hitting mobile cav, especially for the price that they are. So they kind of squishy. They have very low armor, not the best melee defense, but they really pack a punch. And that's going to be the Beastmen army. That's the forces of good. Oh, what, you thought this was the forces of good? This is our story, not theirs. We're the good forces. These are the bad guys. So over here for the dwarves, we have a kind of mirrored composition here. We have 2 miners with blasting charges, 1 here, 1 here. 2 longbeards, 1 here, 1 here. And then 2 hammers, 1 here and 1 here. So that's going to be their mainline infantry. Up here we have 2 Thunderers and then 1 Quarreler with a great weapon. And then in the back we have a Ironbreaker and then a group of Slayers. For the leadership we have Grombrindle, the White Dwarf, and a Runesmith with a lot of their runes. And the special item, which I can't remember what it is on a Runesmith anymore. The Hammer of Karak Draz, 47-second hex, minus 25% weapon damage, and melee attack. Actually, that's pretty good. Yeah, I like that. And yeah, and then Grumbrindle, I think that's their entire force. So a lot of kind of elite units here with the 2 hammers, the Ironbreakers, they got the Slayers, some decent range as well. No cannons or anything from the dwarves. It's going to be a chargey dwarf army, which you don't see often, which is pretty cool. Then for the Humies, we have 2 crossbows, 1 handgunner. I just kind of noticed how these people have 1 quarreler, or essentially a crossbow, 2 gunners. This person has 1 gunner, 2 crossbows. I wonder if they planned that. Anyway, behind them we have 2 of the Flagellants, which are the unbreakable infantry of the Empire. We also have 2 swordsmen, 2 halberdiers, and then 1 greatsword. Back here we have a great cannon at the top of the hill. And then for the leadership we have a archlector, which I haven't really seen often, on a horse. So their armor is going to be 120. This is a very tanky Empire leader So I like them just for that reason. I usually run the Archlector with a group of Royal Outdoor Griffites. It's kind of how I run them. But this player is not going to be doing that. They also have a Bright Wizard with the Flaming Skull, and then the 2 buff spells of the Flame Lore. And then here we go. Over here we have Knights of the Blazing Sun, which are the flame-infused Knights of the Empire. They look really cool, and they hit pretty hard. They have a pretty nice charge bonus. They're not really so defensively focused, so the Reiksguard are going to be the defensive kind of variant of these. They have a higher melee defense and I believe higher armor than the Knights of the Blazing Sun, but the Knights definitely do hit harder than the Reiksguard. And then we do have a group of the Royal Altdorf Griffites, which is the anti-armor, anti-large, one of the best anti-large cav in the game. Or at least they were. I feel like the Demigryph Knights as a whole have been kind of nerfed since they have more models per unit now. They just don't feel as strong as they used to, which is probably a good thing. They still are strong, just not as strong. I don't know if that makes sense. But anyway, that's going to be their army. So let us get this show on the road. So the Vanguard deployed forces of the Beastmen, again, are going to post up on this little ridge right here. I'm assuming to try and mitigate some of the range fire, because if they're on a slope, it may be harder for the crossbows to hit. But the crossbows are still going to kind of do a lot of damage. The gunners are not really going to have line of sight, though, so that is pretty good. I am seeing this cannon on the hill up here, so I'm like, well, you know what? I have these 2 stalking pretty fast gutter runner units, so we're just going to go bloop, 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 bloop. And then we're going to try and flank this cannon position and then also get into some of these ranged units with the gutter runners. I'm going to be moving my army up to try and support my allies' Vanguard deployed force. And then the Dwarf is going to be moving their force kind of like this. Meanwhile, you can already see their Thunderers, both my Plagueclaw catapults back here and these 2 Cygors, were pummeling these Thunderers. And now I'm going to be switching my fire onto the Hammers because my infantry is going to have to be dealing with these Hammers. So I'm like, well, you know what? Let's take out that lead force too. Now we have the Ungor Herds and the Gore Herds charging into the front line of the Empire, including their Flagellants and the Swordsmen. So this is going to be kind of, well, it's going to be in the favor of the Empire, basically. But that is buying time for my gutter runners, who are now spotted. Even though they were seen, they are still going to be able to get the ambush off of. So we're going to get up here into the Great Cannon, and then this one's going to be getting into the handgunners and the crossbowmen. Over here, the Royal Outdoor Griffites and the Knights of the Blazing Sun were getting hit by the Centaurs with the throwing axes, and they're going to continue to get hit. So these Knights are just going to sit right there, and the human player is going to forget them for a long time. Over here we have a Flaming Skull from the Bright Wizard, which is fine. We do get hit a little bit. Unfortunately, my Plague Monk Stitcher Bearers are getting nailed by these crossbows. They don't really have good defense against range, so we're trying to just get them into the combat against these great swords so they can do some armor piercing damage before they die, because they're just getting focused down. My Death Runners, they were in a different group than my mainline infantry, but they will be brought up here soon. My leadership is going to try and jump on their Archlector, who is right here in the middle. And you can see that the Ungor Herds are going to be routing, and my force is going to kind of be routing in pretty quickly behind them, especially my Plague Monk Sister Bears. But we're getting a group of Clan Rats summoned to try and jump into these crossbowmen. You can see the Gunner Runners getting into the crossbowmen and the Thunderers, and already I have wiped out the Hammer of the Witches up here on the hill. Up here, my ally has now summoned a third, or should I say their first Cygor, who's now still pummeling these Thunderers, who are already almost dead due to the concentration of the Cygor fire. So the Thunderers have almost been totally destroyed. These Royal Outdoor Griffites are going to be destroyed by the Centaurs, and after they're destroyed, they're going to move the Knights of the Blazing Sun after the Centaurs. So we kind of got a free Knights of, we got a free Knights Royal Outdoor Griffites. We got a free kill on those basically. Over here, my leaders, Queek, Headtaker, and the Assassin are going to be chasing the Archlector, who jumped right into a Death Runner, so their armor is now halved. So now they have a 42 in armor, so it's going to be that easy to kill them. I don't know why they willingly jumped into a Death Runner who's going to lower their armor so much. My army is going to be coming back online over here. You can see my Rat Ogres taking a beating, my Citra Bear is taking a beating, but they're going to be coming back, and then my Plague Monks are also going to be coming back over there. Getting our Poisonwood Globadiers, getting some nice damage on these Longbeards, but we're going to withdraw them so we don't get killed. Actually, I think that's just on skirmish mode, honestly. I think they're just on skirmish. Meanwhile, back here, my other Gutter Runner, fresh off of killing these, not the handgunners, but the Hammer of the Witch is going to be coming over here to get into these crossbows, along with this Gutter Runner. And we're just holding the rest of the Empire infantry with our Clan Rats with spears here and there. I should say, I guess that's Skaven slaves with spears, but this is Clan Rats with spears. We have now killed the Archlector, I believe? No, we have not. We have not killed the Archlector, sorry. The Archlector has actually peeled away from our leadership and run interference with the Swordmen, but eventually we will be able to break through the Swordsmen and jump back onto the Archlector. The Bright Wizard, I don't know if they cast any more spells or not, but they're just going to be kind of hanging out right there. Meanwhile, our artillery position is getting charged by the dwarf line of hammerers, runesmith, grumbrindle, miners, and longbeards. The slayers have already pierced the lines and went onto my play call catapult, so we're going to jump on them with our plague monks and sister bearers, skaven, clan rats, spears. We're also going to get some help with the best scores over there. Now the rat ogres are holding these longbeards in place, so allowing the poison globadiers to throw in their globes kind of just unhindered. And there we go, we now jumped back onto the Archlector. We popped trophy heads on him to make him easier to kill. And also this talisman from, I believe that's the assassin? I think that has the rival talisman, or maybe it's Queek. So we're lowering his melee attack as well, so we're going to be chasing him with Queek Headtaker. Meanwhile, the assassin was supposed to be chasing him, but he got kind of sidetracked by the swordsman. So we're going to be able to neutralize the Archlector here soon. And we're still just kind of holding the Imperial Infantry at bay. Their Warlords or Gryphites are dead. Their Knights of the Blazing Sun did manage to chase the Centaurs up here, but then they got killed in this forest over there. These gutter runners have managed to shatter the Correlers and the crossbowmen over here, so we're going to be pulling them off here soon-ish. And this Correler is going to be coming over here as well. Play call catapult is now basically saved. We have killed most of the slayers. Now it's just pummeling this hammer, the miner position over here. I think the hammers have already been routed, or no, they're not there yet, sorry. The hammers over here. They're going to be joining this melee over here with the best scores and the minotaurs that are still alive. Also, I think I forgot to mention that my ally has minotaurs and great weapons. My bad, I forgot to mention those. And I think we have, yes, we have a 4th Cygor. So we have 4 Cygors now just pummeling these dwarves. They've destroyed the Thunderers, the Correlers. They've done a lot of damage to the Hammerers along with my play called Catapult. They've done a lot of damage to everybody, just everybody. And now you can see they're firing some rounds into these greatswords as well. We're being held in place by my Skaven Slave with spears. Some friendly fire damage there, but who cares? It's a Skaven Slave with spears and it almost did Plague Monk. So yeah, that's fine. Kill those greatswords. So at this point we have destroyed the Archlector and then we chased off the Bright Wizard with our 2 leadership units, Queek and the Assassin. They are very, very deadly in melee, as those Imperial leaders found out the hard way. Centaurs have been doing a lot of nice cycle charging. I believe you're over here on the left flank against these Iron Breakers, just kind of slowly pummeling them down. And now Grumbrindle and the Runesmith are basically left alone, and where are they? Are they right here? There they are. I had withdrawn my Death Runners from this combat against the Halberds to try and go over here to assist against the Dwarves. Again, because they have that armor debuff, so we debuff the entire Dwarven position here. So you can see Grumbrindle is fighting at only 60 armor now, so he, that just makes him easily killed. Well, not easy, but easier. Same thing with the Runesmith, only has 60 armor now because of the debuff from the Death Runners. And so they are just really good, again, especially against Dwarves. You just still gotta kind of be careful about them. I don't really think you should use them as a mainline infantry. They're very expensive, and they're not honestly super tanky themselves. But as a flanking unit and a support unit, I think the Death Runners are pretty damn good. So here comes Queek Headtaker and the Assassin fresh off their victory against the Archlector and the Bright Wizard, but too late. Grumbrindle's already shattered. I wanted to try and kill him, but now there is no point to because he shattered with the rest of the Dwarven army. Slayers have been neutralized, and now all they have left is this Flagellant, who is chasing a shattered Gore herd. And that's what happens for the last minute. So that is going to be a GG for the forces of good. The Skaven and the Beastmen destroyed those vile dwarves and Humies. 4 Cygors, that just seemed nasty. Before they die... Actually, one already did die. How about this one? 53 kills in this one. So this was the one that was summoned first. I'm assuming at least double that with this summoned Cygor. I'm assuming. What about these two? 89, 138. So yeah, the 4 Cygors were not shut down at all by either of their forces. The only thing that could really do it after their Slayers were destroyed, and since they destroyed their Thunderers and their Quarrelers, that's what the Cygors kind of focused on first, which was a good call because they can bring down Cygors. Without those, all they had was the Hammer of the Witches, which is also a good tool to kill Cygors, but that's why I kind of shut that down with my Gutter Runners. So they didn't really have much left to stop 4 Cygors from chucking their rocks, which is a lot of damage and very scary, especially when you're a dwarf using a lot of elite units like Hammerers and Iron Breakers. They kind of felt that punch. Alright, so good game to Defug, me, Prince of Temp, and then TMD GHKS3755. Over here you can see the Gutter Runners just wreaked havoc with the Imperial backline against their crossbows, their handgunners, and the Hammer of the Witches, and then after that I think they were just doing some damage like long beards and very heavily armored soldiers that they don't really do much damage towards, but they got their intended targets, which were the crossbows. Death Runners assisted in a lot of kills. My front line for the most part didn't do exceptionally well. They kind of got pummeled by crossbow fire before they really got there, and then they were kind of outclassed by great swords, hammers, and all that, but they held the line long enough for all of these, Cygors, the Play Claw Catapult, and everything to do what they needed to do, basically. For my ally, Bestigors, for the most part, did pretty good. The Centaurs are throwing axes, 43 kills, and they destroyed a Royal Ultimate Graphite unit. But to be fair, the Royal Ultimate Graphite stood still and let it happen. I have not had much luck with the throwing axe Centaurs, but in this particular battle, they did really well. As did the Centaurs with great weapons doing the repeating charges against the Ironbreakers, and there go the Cygor kills. And again, there were two more, let's say like another 150 to 200 kills tacked on from those two summoned Cygors, and then the Minotaurs with great weapons also did 53 kills in total. For the poor dwarves, one of the hammers got 55 kills, but you really want these to like get 100 plus to really pay for how much they cost, even though they were reduced in cost in this game, in the second game instead of the first game, which is good. They needed that, but still, like, you really want them to get more than what happened. And then their poor Quarreler and Thunderer group just got destroyed. Like, my ally knew what units to take out first, and these units didn't have a chance to do anything. I feel so bad for that dwarf player. They got pummeled so hard. Then for the human player, Great Swords did really well, over 100 kills. Their Hammer of the Witches got 36 before they shut them down. Royal Ultimate Graphite, 0 kills. Didn't even do anything, which is just bad. And then the Knights of Blazing Sun chased the Centaurs throwing axes, were getting destroyed by those, and they chased them all the way over to our side, and I think they got jumped by Bestigor, or like a rear charge from a Centaur with great weapon, something like that, around the forest area where those Bestigors were summoned, or deployed, so I think that's what happened to them. Besides that, though, like, Swordsmen actually did really well. They killed a lot of my rats, Flagellants killed a lot of my rats. Like, their mainline infantry actually did pretty good. It's just unfortunate that their kind of key backline units and support units did not. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the 2v2, everybody. Let's go watch a cinematic view of the battle. These poor gunners. Look at that. So, I mean, I guess maybe there actually has really been increased, because they got a lot of kills. Look at that. That was dead center. Almost. Alright, that missed, but still. It seems better. That's going to definitely hurt those Flagellants, those Satchel charges. My poor rats. Damn crossbows. Monsters. You need to use the plague monks I summoned?
Die, things!
Ninja rats?
Fight! Fight! Quick! Quick!
Where's those knights? Oh, they haven't. There we go. So yeah, they're just getting pummeled by these Centaurs with throwing axes. And then it looks like, yeah, I think they get jumped by that Bestigor unit in the forest. maybe pummeled is a strong word from the throwing axes. None of those even hit. Good God, man. That accuracy. But then there go the Bestigors. So yeah, it's a trap. It was a trap. And so now they're stuck in the forest, fighting at a disadvantage against a bunch of armor-piercing Bestigors. And that's a goodbye to that unit.
Eat them. Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
Where's Queek at? There you are.
Fight.
Go get that Archlector. Don't let him live. Don't let him live. Get him! Yeah! Get that, Archlector! And your stupid horse.
For real. Kritanica.
The assassin dealt with the Bright Wizard.
Sneak move.
I love the assassin. I love Skaven.
Fight attack.
There goes the Runesmith. Grombrindle to follow shortly after. I think that was Grombrindle's breaking right there. Ninja rats, so cool. Yeah, they've shouted at everybody. Okay, well that's gonna do it, everybody. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the battle. These Death Runners just look so cool. Freaking assassins, man. Cold-blooded killers. Well, actually, they're warm-blooded killers. But anyway, I will see you all next time, everybody. Thanks again for watching. Take care.